For 3 years, I believed love meant protecting the people who mattered without asking for recognition. Every month, I quietly transferred money to cover the mortgage on Claire Bennett's parents' house. They thought the bank had approved a special payment plan. Only Claire and I knew the truth. "You never have to do this," Claire had whispered months ago. "I want to," I replied. "Your family is my family." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, "Let's keep it between us. Mom and Dad would feel ashamed if they knew." I promise. That promise became part of my life. When Robert Bennett's 60th birthday arrived, I bought him an expensive watch and drove to the family dinner feeling excited. I honestly believed that night would bring us even closer. Linda Bennett opened the door with watery eyes. "You made it," she said, hugging me tightly. "Come in. Robert keeps asking where you are." I smiled. Happy birthday to him. Robert walked over and laughed. "There you are. I thought we kidnapped you. Nothing could keep me away tonight." He patted my shoulder warmly. "Good. Tonight, we're all family." His words made me smile. Then I walked into the dining room. My smile disappeared. The chair beside Claire was occupied. Ethan Brooks, Claire's ex-boyfriend. He looked completely comfortable, chatting with everyone like he had never left. I stopped walking. Claire noticed me and forced a nervous smile. "Oh, you're here." I stared at the chair. I thought that was my seat. She hesitated. "I actually saved it for Ethan." I blinked. "What?" She lowered her voice. "It just makes everyone more comfortable." I couldn't believe what I had heard. More comfortable? You know Dad invited him because they stayed close after the breakup. I looked around the table. Nobody seemed surprised. Marcus Bennett laughed loudly. "Ethan, tell us more about your promotion." Ethan grinned. "It was a lot of hard work." Marcus pointed toward him proudly. "That's the kind of man every family wants around." Then his eyes landed on me. "Oh, you're here too." I forced a polite smile. "Good evening." Marcus shrugged. "There's an empty chair down there." He pointed to the far end of the table. The chair sat alone, away from Claire, away from everyone. Claire gave me an apologetic look. "Please don't make this awkward." I asked quietly. "Awkward for who?" She didn't answer. Emily Bennett suddenly stood. "Claire, that's not fair." Claire sighed. "Emily, please." "No," Emily replied. "He always sits here." Marcus rolled his eyes. "It's one dinner." Emily crossed her arms. "That's not the point." Ethan finally spoke. "If it's really a problem, I can move." Claire shook her head immediately. "No, Ethan, stay where you are." Those words hit harder than I expected. She had chosen, and it wasn't me. I walked to the empty chair without saying another word. Linda looked uncomfortable. "Honey, would you like more potatoes?" "Sure," I answered softly. Robert raised his glass. "I want to thank everyone for coming tonight." Everyone cheered. "I've been blessed with wonderful family and wonderful friends." He smiled at Ethan. "It's always good seeing familiar faces." Ethan lifted his glass. "The feeling is mutual." People laughed. I quietly took a sip of water. Nobody noticed. Dinner continued. Marcus kept asking Ethan questions. "So, are you seeing anyone?" Ethan chuckled. "Not seriously." Marcus glanced toward Claire. "Funny how life works." Claire laughed nervously. "Oh, Uncle Marcus." He wasn't finished. "You and Claire always looked good together." The room became silent. I looked at my plate. Claire didn't stop him. She simply smiled awkwardly. Emily spoke first. "Can we please change the subject?" Marcus shrugged. "I'm just telling the truth." Robert cleared his throat. "Let's focus on dinner." I wished he had said that sooner. Instead, Ethan leaned back comfortably. "I'll always care about this family." Marcus nodded with approval. "And this family cares about you." Every word felt like another cut. I looked around the dining room. The polished floors, the beautiful chandelier, the fresh paint, the comfortable furniture. Every corner reminded me of the payments I made every month. Nobody here knew. Nobody knew I had sacrificed vacations, new clothes, and countless weekends of overtime so this house would never be taken away. Claire caught me staring. "Are you okay?" I looked directly into her eyes. "Do I look okay?" She whispered, "Please." "Not tonight." I almost laughed. "Not tonight?" When exactly was I allowed to feel hurt? Emily quietly reached toward me. "I'm sorry. It's not your fault." She looked ready to argue with everyone. I appreciated that. At least one person saw me. The birthday cake arrived. Everyone gathered around Robert. I stayed where I was. They sang together. They laughed together. They took family pictures together. Nobody asked me to join. Nobody even noticed I wasn't standing beside them. I realized something painful. I wasn't being treated like Claire's boyfriend. I was being treated like an extra guest. Maybe even less. After the candles were blown out, I quietly stood. Claire frowned. "Where are you going?" I picked up my jacket. "Home. Already?" "Yeah." She looked annoyed instead of concerned. "We'll talk later." I nodded once. "Sure." Nobody tried to stop me except Emily. She followed me to the front door. "You don't deserve this," she whispered. I managed a weak smile. "Take care of your dad." She hugged me. "I'm really sorry." I stepped outside without another word. As the front door closed behind me, laughter echoed from inside the very house I had secretly spent 3 years saving. Standing alone in the cold night, I finally accepted the truth. I wasn't losing my seat at the dinner table. I had already lost my place in Claire's life. The morning after Robert Bennett's birthday dinner, I woke up hoping the pain would feel smaller. It didn't. Instead, my phone buzzed. "Claire." I answered quietly. "Morning." She sighed. "Are you still upset?" "I think you know the answer." "Oh, come on," she said. "You're seriously overreacting." "Overreacting? It was one dinner. It wasn't about the chair." "Then what was it about?" "It was about you choosing Ethan over me." She sounded irritated. "I wasn't choosing anyone. You told him to keep my seat." "Because everyone was already comfortable." I laughed without humor. "Exactly. What does that mean?" "It means I wasn't the person you wanted beside you." She stayed silent. Finally, she said, "Can we please move on?" "I don't think I can. You always make things bigger than they are." The call ended before I could answer. I stared at the screen for several seconds. For the first time in 3 years, I wondered if I even recognized the woman I loved. A week passed. Pictures from another Bennett family barbecue appeared online. Ethan stood beside Robert. Linda smiled at him. Marcus wrapped an arm around his shoulder. Even Claire stood next to him. Emily looked uncomfortable in every picture. I wasn't invited. My assistant, Sophia Reed, knocked on my office door. "Good morning." I forced a smile. "Morning, Sophia." She placed several folders on my desk. "You have a meeting in 20 minutes. "Thanks." She hesitated. "Can I ask something?" "Sure." "You seem distracted all week." "I'm fine." She smiled gently. "I've worked with you for 4 years. So, I know when you're pretending." I sighed. "I appreciate your concern. You don't have to tell me anything." "I know." She nodded. "But if you ever need help, I'm here." "Thank you." After she left, Daniel Carter walked into my office without knocking. There he is. I smiled faintly. My favorite financial advisor, and my most stubborn client. He sat across from me. "You've ignored 3 of my calls." "I've been busy." "No." He leaned forward. "You've been avoiding me." I rubbed my forehead. "It's been a rough week." He studied my face. "What happened?" Everything spilled out. The birthday dinner. The seat. Ethan. Claire's words. Marcus's insults. Daniel listened without interrupting. When I finished, he shook his head. "That's awful. It gets worse." "Ow!" "I still paid their mortgage yesterday." His eyebrows shot up. "You what?" "I never miss a payment." Daniel stared at me. "Hold on." "What? They still don't know?" "No. You've paid for that house for 3 years." "Yes." "And her parents think the bank saved them?" "Claire wanted it that way." Daniel leaned back slowly. "I honestly don't know what to say. I loved her." "You still do." "I don't know anymore." He folded his hands. "Tell me something." "What?" "If Claire respected you, would she let another man take your place?" I looked away. "No." "If she respected you, would she hide everything you've sacrificed?" "No." "If she respected you, would she call your pain overreacting?" I couldn't answer. Daniel spoke softly. "Love should never cost your dignity." His words stayed with me. For hours. That afternoon, Sophia entered again. "Mr. Bennett is here." I blinked. "Robert?" "Yes." "Send him in." Robert walked inside, carrying a small gift bag. I was nearby. "You didn't have to bring anything." He smiled warmly. "You've always helped our family." The words stung. "If only you knew." "What?" "Nothing. I wanted to thank you for the birthday gift." "I'm glad you liked it." We talked about work for several minutes. Then Sophia interrupted. "Excuse me." "Yes." "Your bank called." She handed me a sealed envelope. I'll leave this here. Thank you. She walked out. Robert looked at the envelope. Looks important. It's probably nothing. He picked it up before I could. It says mortgage documents. My heart stopped. Robert. He had already opened it. His smile disappeared. His eyes moved across the papers. What is this? I stayed silent. He looked at me again. These payments. I nodded once. They're yours. Yes. You've been paying our mortgage? For 3 years. His face turned pale. No. I didn't want anyone to know. He whispered, why? Because I loved your daughter. His hand shook. My God. I promised Claire. Robert sat down heavily. She told us the bank worked everything out. I know. Before either of us could speak again, Claire walked into my office. Dad. She froze after seeing the documents. What happened? Robert stood. Did you know about this? Claire glanced at me before answering. Yes. You let him pay for our house. It wasn't like that. Then explain. She crossed her arms. It was just temporary financial help. Those 5 words hurt more than every insult at the birthday dinner. Temporary. 3 years. Thousands of dollars. Countless sacrifices. Reduced to temporary help. Robert looked horrified. Claire. What? You never told us. It wasn't important. I finally spoke. It wasn't important? Claire sighed impatiently. Can we not make this dramatic? Daniel happened to walk back into my office. He stopped instantly. I should come back. No. Robert said quietly. You should hear this. Claire looked embarrassed. This isn't anyone else's business. Daniel looked directly at me. I think it became everyone's business a long time ago. Another man entered moments later. Sophia opened the door. Victor Hayes is here for the contract review. Our family lawyer stepped inside, carrying several files. I hope I'm not interrupting. Robert looked exhausted. You might actually be arriving at the perfect time. Victor frowned. What happened? Nobody answered immediately. I looked at the mortgage papers one last time. Then I quietly reached into my desk, opened my banking app, and canceled every automatic mortgage payment schedule for the future. No announcements. No warnings. No arguments. If nobody believed my sacrifices mattered, then they would soon discover exactly what happened when those sacrifices finally ended. 3 weeks after I canceled the mortgage payments, my phone stayed silent. Nobody called to thank me. Nobody called to ask how I was doing. Then, one Monday morning, my silence ended. Claire's name flashed across my screen. I answered calmly. What happened? Her voice shook. The bank made a mistake. I see. They're saying we're behind on the mortgage. I stayed quiet. You need to help me figure this out. Why me? Because you're good with finances. I closed my eyes. I think you should call the bank. We already did. And they're insisting the payments stopped. They're correct. What? The payments stopped. She sounded confused. How do you know that? I just do. Can you come over? No. Please. I'm busy. Before she could answer, I ended the call. For the first time in years, I chose myself instead of cleaning up someone else's problems. 2 days later, Daniel Carter walked into my office carrying coffee. You look different. In a good way. He smiled. You actually slept. I did. Any news? The mortgage finally caught up with them. He nodded slowly. It always would. I know. Sophia Reed entered with a smile. Congratulations. For what? She handed me an envelope. The board approved your promotion. I opened it. Senior Operations Director. I laughed softly. I wasn't expecting this. You earned it, Sophia said. Daniel grinned. I guess refusing to carry everyone else's problems leaves more time to build your own future. I guess it does. Sophia smiled. We're all proud of you. For the first time in weeks, I felt proud of myself too. That afternoon, my phone rang again. This time it was Emily Bennett. I answered. Hi, Emily. I'm sorry for calling. It's okay. You were right. About what? Everything. I leaned back. What happened? The collection notices came today. I stayed silent. Dad is asking questions. And Claire. She's saying the bank made an error. I sighed. It wasn't an error. I know. Emily's voice cracked. Dad found the mortgage papers again. What did he say? He asked Claire who had really been paying. And she couldn't answer. I closed my eyes. Emily continued. Mom started crying. Why? She remembered every time something went wrong. I listened quietly. The furnace broke. Yes. You somehow fixed it. The roof leaked. I remember. The taxes were always paid. I said nothing. Emily whispered. Mom finally realized it was always you. Hearing those words brought no satisfaction, only sadness. That evening, Claire appeared outside my apartment. Sophia called first. She's downstairs. Did she say why? She wants to see you. I'll handle it. I walked outside. Claire looked exhausted. Dark circles covered her eyes. She stepped toward me. We need to talk. I don't think we do. The house is falling apart. I looked at her quietly. The bank says foreclosure is possible. I know. You knew. Yes. She stared. Why didn't you tell me? I already did. When I stopped being important enough to deserve honesty. She swallowed hard. Please don't do this. I'm not doing anything. You could fix this. I could. Then why won't you? I looked directly into her eyes. Because I finally realized my love was keeping your family alive while you treated me like I didn't belong. She reached for my hand. I made mistakes. You did. I'll make everything right. Can you erase that birthday dinner? No. Can you erase every time you chose Ethan? She looked away. No. Then what exactly are you asking me to save? She had no answer. She quietly left. The next weekend, Emily called again. You won't believe this. What happened? Ethan promised everyone he'd fix everything. I almost laughed. Really? He said he'd take care of the mortgage. And he couldn't even qualify for the loan. I shook my head. What happened after that? Victor Hayes explained everything. Our lawyer. Yes. He showed Dad the foreclosure timeline. I listened carefully. He said the bank has officially started proceedings. I took a slow breath. So it's real now. Emily answered softly. It's very real. What about Uncle Marcus? She actually laughed. He stopped praising Ethan. That fast. The second he realized Ethan couldn't save the house. I wasn't surprised. Marcus respected money more than people. Without money, Ethan had become ordinary. Emily continued. Dad asked Ethan if he'd actually been helping. What did he say? He admitted he never paid anything. And Marcus? He didn't say another word. For once, silence had defeated arrogance. The following morning, Robert called me. I answered after several rings. Hello. His voice sounded older. I owe you an apology. You don't owe me anything. I owe you more than I can ever repay. I stayed quiet. I failed to see what you were doing for my family. You didn't know. I should have. His honesty touched me. I never wanted recognition. I know. I just wanted respect. Robert took a deep breath. You deserved that from the beginning. After we hung up, I stood beside my office window, overlooking the city. Only a month earlier, I believed my happiness depended on Claire accepting me. Now I understood something different. Peace didn't come from earning someone else's approval. It came from refusing to lose myself trying to deserve it. Behind me, Sophia smiled. Ready for your first executive meeting? I smiled back. More than ever. As I walked toward my new office, I realized something had completely changed. Claire's world was collapsing because she had chosen appearances over loyalty. Mine was finally beginning because I had chosen my own worth. 6 months changed my life more than the previous 3 years ever had. I bought a new house, not because I wanted to prove anything to anyone. I bought it because, for the first time, I wanted a place that belonged entirely to me. No secrets, no sacrifices hidden behind someone else's happiness. No pretending. Daniel Carter stood beside me on moving day. He looked around the living room and smiled. So what? How does freedom feel? I laughed. Strange. That's normal. I keep expecting someone to ask me to solve another crisis. He shook his head. Not anymore. Sophia Reed carried in another box. I officially declare this the nicest boss's house I've ever visited. I smiled. Thank you. She placed the box on the kitchen counter. You deserve every bit of this. Daniel nodded. She isn't wrong. I looked around the empty house. I spent years believing love meant giving until nothing was left. Sophia answered softly. Real love never asks you to disappear. Those words stayed with me. Weeks passed peacefully. My promotion became permanent. My team respected me. People listened when I spoke. Nobody made me feel invisible. One afternoon, Sophia knocked on my office door. You have a visitor. Who? She hesitated. Claire. I closed my laptop. I figured this day would come. You don't have to see her. No. I stood. I think I do. Claire waited at a quiet cafe across the street. She looked thinner, more tired. When I sat down, neither of us spoke immediately. Finally, she whispered, "Thank you for coming. I only have a few minutes." "I understand." She looked at her hands. I replayed that birthday dinner every single day. I remained silent. She looked up. "It was never about the chair." "I know. It showed exactly where you stood in my heart." I nodded once. It did. Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't realize it then." "You should have." "I know." She wiped her face. "I kept telling myself you would always stay." I watched quietly. "I thought your patience meant you would never leave." "It didn't." "I thought your generosity would never end." "It did." She took a shaky breath. "I confused kindness with weakness." I answered calmly. "That was your biggest mistake." She nodded. "It was." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she whispered the words I had expected. "The house is almost gone." I didn't react. "The foreclosure is nearly complete." I heard. "Dad feels guilty every day." "I know. Mom cries constantly." I looked out the window. "Emily still defends you." "I'm grateful to her." Claire leaned forward. "Please." I met her eyes. "Please what?" "Come back." I stayed silent. "Help us again." I almost smiled. "You mean save the house?" "Yes. And save our family." I folded my hands. "I already spent 3 years doing exactly that." "We know." "You didn't know when it mattered." Her shoulders dropped. "I know. I gave everything." "You did." "I paid your mortgage." "Yes." "I missed vacations." "Yes." "I worked nights." "I know." "And when I needed one seat beside the woman I loved." She closed her eyes. "I failed you. You replaced me." "I did." "You asked me to understand." "I'm sorry." "You told me I was overreacting." Fresh tears rolled down her face. "I was wrong." I nodded. "I know." She reached across the table. "I love you." I gently moved my hand away. "I believe you think you do." "I mean it. But you learned it only after losing everything." She couldn't deny it. "I've changed." "I hope you have." "Then give me another chance." I smiled sadly. "I already gave you thousands of chances." She started crying openly. "I don't deserve forgiveness." "No, but I'm asking anyway." I stood slowly. "I'm not angry anymore." She looked surprised. "You're not?" "No." "Then why won't you come back?" "Because peace is worth protecting." She stared at me. I finally learned who I am. I picked up my jacket. "I won't become a man who sacrifices his self-respect just to be loved." She whispered, "I miss you. I miss the person I thought we were." Outside, the afternoon sun felt warm. Claire walked beside me without speaking. When we reached the end of the street, both of us stopped. Across the road stood the Bennett family house. A foreclosure notice rested in the front yard. Workers were taking pictures. Victor Hayes stood nearby, speaking with bank representatives. Robert noticed me first. He lowered his head. Linda quietly cried beside him. Emily gave me a small, sad smile. Marcus stood alone. For once, he had nothing to say. Claire looked at the house. "I destroyed everything." I answered honestly. "No." "You think I did?" "I think your choices did." She covered her face. "I'm so sorry." I looked at the home one last time. For years, I had believed those walls stood because love was enough. Now I understood the truth. Love without respect eventually collapses, just like houses built on broken foundations. I turned away. Claire didn't try to stop me. She simply watched as I walked toward my car. Halfway there, I paused for one final moment. "You once saved a seat for your ex." Her quiet sobs were the only reply. I continued walking. "But you forgot that I was the one carrying the whole house." This time, I didn't look back. Some seats can be offered again. Some apologies can be accepted. Some mistakes can be forgiven. But once a person finally learns their own worth, there are places in life they never return to. I drove away knowing I had not lost the woman I loved. I had found the man I was always meant to become.